Hey everyone, today's lesson is going to be on using a coordinate plane. It's going to be our background information and our notes for this chapter on translations. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to know about is just what a coordinate plane is. And a coordinate plane is a graph that runs both positive and negative directions. It includes an x and y axis. So we have positive numbers over here and negative numbers over here. And then we have positive numbers up here and negative numbers up here on both of the different axes. So then we have an x-axis, and the x-axis runs from left to right. And again, on the x-axis, there's positive numbers on the right, negative numbers on the left. And then we have the y-axis, which runs vertically up and down, and we have the positive numbers up on top and the negative numbers down below. So please pause the video here to take notes if you need to. I'll show this on the bottom of the screen here to tell you when to pause. So pause and write this down. If you need to draw a picture, feel free to draw this picture as well. All right, hopefully you wrote that down. The next slide is a coordinate or an ordered pair. So these two are the same thing, just different terms for each one. I tend to use the word coordinate more, but later you might use ordered pair. So coordinate points is a set of values that show an exact point on a coordinate plane or on this graph. It is always set up with x and then y. The x-axis, or the x is the number that's on the x-axis, so it's going to be one of the numbers that are here. And then the y would be the number that would be on the y-axis, which would be here. So this number right here is the number that would be on the x-axis, and then this number here is the number that's on the y-axis. The coordinate is where the two numbers meet. And then we have two examples that are going to show two different ways of doing this. So the first example is an example from one of your previous lessons, and it's the coordinate is 3, 4. So this 3 right here, again, is the x number. So that is the number right here. And then the 4 is the y number, which is the number right here. And where those two numbers meet is where our point would go. Our coordinate point goes there. So this should be the spot for our first one. Another way that we might show this is if they give us a point first. So on this example, they give us a point, and then we need to write down what the coordinates are for this point. And again, we need to remember that the x is first, and the y is second. So here's the x-axis, and here's the y-axis. So here's where our lines go, and the x number is right here, and our y number is right here. So our coordinate to find that point would be -5 for the x and 2 for the y. And if you notice, they're both written the same way. There's a parenthesis, the x number, a comma, the y number, and then there's an end parenthesis. So please pause the video here and write these down in your notes. And then we'll move on. So now we have how to plot points. This is directly from the old lesson that we did where you were drawing a picture. So there's a few steps that go for that. We need to first plot the first coordinate on our coordinate plane. then plot our second coordinate on our coordinate plane, then connect those two coordinates with a line. We're going to repeat this process for the entire shape, and then if there's more than one shape, we repeat the process for each shape. So for our examples on here, we have our first point here, our second point there, and then we're going to connect them with a line. If I was to have other points on here, let's say I had a point over here, I would plot that point and then connect it with a line, and then I can go back to the beginning. So and this shape would have been a triangle. All right, this is the last part of our notes for today, and it's placement on a coordinate plane. So it's going to talk about the different parts of our coordinate plane here. So we've already gone over the x and y axis, and then now we need to go over what is called the origin. The origin is the center of the plane. I think of it as the bullseye or a crosshair in the middle. It's where these dark lines intersect and cross. So the x and y axis intersect at 0, 0, which is right here. So our origin is right in the middle of our graph. And the origin lays on both the y-axis and the x-axis. And then we're going to talk about each kind of section of our coordinate plane next. And these are called quadrants. Think of the word quad. It says 4, and there's 4 different sections of our coordinate plane. So the first is quadrant 1, and it always is going to have a positive x and a positive y. So here's our positive x, so it's going to be on the right side of the graph, and then our positive y's are up on the top. So quadrant 1 is going to be up in this section only. And then the next one, our quadrants are going to go counterclockwise. So our next one's going to be quadrant 2, and it's negative x, positive y. So on our x-axis, the negative numbers are on the left. The positive y's are on the top. So quadrant 2 is going to be right here. Then we have quadrant 3, which is a negative on the x, a negative on the y. So our negatives on the x's are on the left side. Our negatives on the y are on the bottom. So quadrant 3 is going to go in the bottom left, which then leaves us with quadrant 4, which is a positive number on the x and a negative number for the y. So our positive x's are over here, and our negative y's are down here. So quadrant 4 is going to go down here. So please pause here and write these down. You definitely want to write the definition of what an origin is. Instead of writing quadrants and these things down, I would probably draw a coordinate plane, a very simple one, in your notes, and write down the different quadrants inside the coordinate plane so you remember where they go. For your homework today, you're going to have to plot some points, and then you're going to have to state the different coordinates, similar to the slide that we had on here. And then the last part is going to be, we're going to be giving you some coordinates, and you have to tell us what quadrant they are in, or if they lay on an axis. So again, remember that the positives and the negatives will tell you which quadrant they will fall in. So have a good day, and good luck on your homework. And I'll see you guys soon.